What's up, walk-ins? Welcome, fans, listeners, our best friends. Michael here. I'm doing a quick intro into this week's episode. So it's actually a reflection of the webinar that we had a couple of weeks ago. And it's about talking metrics, value versus vanity. I love metrics. I'm a numbers guy, so I had a lot of fun doing this. But I wanted to bring some interesting topics to that. So a couple of things to note for this episode. We're going to talk about what metrics you've been given by your agencies over time and are convinced are good things, but they may not be. They may be the vanities, and what value metrics actually looks like. And we'll give real life examples where something looked great on the surface, but it was not at the end of the day. So I wanted to touch on that and just let you guys know that this episode will be completely focused on numbers. And just, if you have reporting from your current agency or from your current marketing person, have you looked at the numbers and just digested what that actually means? And that's the whole point of this webinar. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you on the other side. So let's actually get into the vanity versus value. Vanity is something that we kind of laugh at in our industry because it is the most pretty. That's why it's called vanity, the most pretty metrics you could see. Here's the key ones that you probably get in your reporting all the time is impressions, clicks, likes, reach, number of followers. They look cool, right? Where, hey, I got you 100,000 impressions and 4,000 clicks and 27 likes this week. Sounds amazing. But the problem with vanity metrics in general is that they don't actually mean anything in terms of dollars back into your clinic. It doesn't matter if you had 1 million impressions, but not a single person booked, because Google or Facebook will do that for you if you have it set up completely wrong, because they're there to make money off of you. So that's something that we're trying to focus on, because we see it all the time when we see reporting come in from different agencies. So like, hey, we're picking up a potential new client. They said, well, here's what the last report my agency gave me. And of course, it's always highlighting impressions and clicks, click-through rates, all these things. And we're like, well, that's cool. That's a cool benchmark, but it doesn't mean anything. And so that's what our goal today is to kind of educate you guys on what does it mean when I have impressions versus all these other items. And the quick answer is this list in front of you right now is cool looking, but doesn't actually help your business, if ever.
I'd say vanity metrics brand your business, and what we're going to be talking about is value metrics that grow your clinic.
Well, and even for us, so when we run ads, impressions mean something to us to make sure that the campaigns are being seen. But that's all we really care about. Like, yeah, it's being seen, cool. That's all we care about, the impression side. And each layer is a little bit different, but we care about the end result. And that's what we're talking about today. All right, so that's the vanity metric. I hope that makes sense. You probably have heard it before. If you got questions, make sure you fire them off in the chat, and Hannah will make sure she'll have them for us to review. Next is the value metric. So this is where it actually makes a little more sense now. So cost per lead, conversion rate. So on conversion rate, like, did they actually, when they clicked the ad, that's not the conversion, from clicking to actually taking an action, like they called you or they booked an appointment, that's a conversion rate, right? And in cost per patient acquisition, like, how much did it cost to get that patient to interact with you guys? Because that really does matter. Lifetime patient value, this one's super interesting because we have limitations on how far we see a patient come back in, because we talk about repeat visitors all the time. That patient may have come in for that one visit, but how often do they come back? That actually makes a big difference, where that patient may be worth $200 today, but maybe they come back X amount of times and worth thousands later. You have to look at that. And because there may be a certain type of patient you want the most of. Booked appointments, of course, matters. Search visibility matters. These are things where, are you showing up where you're supposed to? And then I think booked appointments is probably one of the biggest piece that we can see. And of course, actual patients coming in your door, which we talk about daily patient volume all the time. All right, so this is the value side. And, basically, if you're buying marketing, like buying from us or buying from anybody, can you tie a dollar amount? Did they make you money, or did you lose money with them? And that's where the value side comes into play. All right. Real world example. I'm not joking. This is a real world example. I didn't just throw up these numbers for kicks and giggles. This was based on an audit that we did of an existing urgent care, 8 location urgent care. These numbers are they're kind of insane, but it's real. So this is where the vanity issue comes up. 167,000 impressions in 30 days. Sounds amazing. I had 167,000 eyeballs look at my ad. Whoa, that's cool.
Right. Could be.
I feel
Yeah.
like look at the old movie. 13,600 clicks. Oh, that's a big number too. That's so cool. Spent $117,000 over 30 days. That's insane. By the way, you really don't need to spend that type of money on 8 locations to get, and if you did and you did it right, it would be amazing.
I'd
But
say you could spend somewhere between 8 and 15,000 on that many locations.
yeah, you could and make an impact. Anyway,
Yeah.
$117,000 over 30 days, which is an insane amount of money. 437 patients booked. Doesn't even mean that they actually came into the clinic. We just saw like the conversion, 437 conversions.
We didn't do this,
By the way, this is just when we did an audit. This is an audit of an account. They're becoming a client, by the way. Anyway, cost per patient, $267 plus. This is terrible because you look at the front end, 167,000 impressions. Well, that sounds super cool. There's that Vanity metric kicking in hard. Man, I saw that many people saw my ad. Bullet down to the actual value metric, $267 a patient. Well, they're losing money.
You're paying that patient to come in and see you.
Yeah, you're literally paying the patient $100 more than what they're paying you to come see you. That's a losing. I literally, when I saw this go through on the audit, I was like, how have they survived for 5 years? Like, how does this even function? And it's just one of the things, like, it's just hard to kind of comprehend. Anyway, so I just want to expose that, saying this is an extreme example. It's a real one. So there's some out there that probably have seen this before. And it's just that classic. It's one of those, they set it up and just said, whatever Google recommends, we'll go for it. And they just kept pressing apply all. And Google wants your money. So they're going to keep increase. Oh, you need more budget. You need more
Google
budget.
is like a 16-year-old child.
Yeah, they're sucking your budget right out. So anyway,
drain your wallet.
This is a real example. This is a real problem. I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. And there you go. All right. Let's roll into we love having a question, breaking up the sections a little bit here. So first question out of the gate. So Hannah just threw it on your screen. What's your number one marketing metric right now? Impressions, clicks, cost per lead, cost per patient acquisition, lifetime patient value. We'll let it run for just a second. All right. So we'll get the result in just a second. But I'll tell you though, and we know that people, cool. Cost per patient acquisition is number one choice there, which is cool to see. That's actually really great to hear. I was going to get concerned if impression clicks became the bigger response, but you guys are looking at the right things, which we do appreciate. All right. So the hidden cost. So hidden cost side of things. So why Vanity Metrics distract urgent cares? It kind of goes back to, it looks so cool. Like it looks like we're doing all the right things. Like, yeah, we increased the ad spend and boom, our impressions and clicks went up. Or we see this quite a bit. The reporting that the dashboard that the agency gave you has all these metrics. Like we use AT Analytics. You can build out a report with 150 metrics, but it's just noise at that point. Like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't filter anything truly. If we had our ways, we would just 100% say how many patients per day are you getting, but we have to pull that from the clinic themselves. But yeah, you can get really, because we've even seen it where a particular ad group throws everything off because the impressions were like high on one and it caused the other side to not look as good. So you have to go through the noise to find the real answer. And that's one of the challenges where it's super easy to report on these items that have all these big numbers because it makes the agency look really good, or the effort that you made looks really good. Even Facebook, when you're inside their ad platform, they're going to focus on some things, and then you have to dig a little deeper to see the actual leads that were being created, because they like showing off those good numbers because they want to keep you going, right? Like that's part of the goal. Anyway, and then it will force you to say, well, you know, if I added another $1,000 a month, I got that much more impressions and clicks, maybe I should add some more. Like, no. Let's see did they actually create more conversions, or did it distract you and create the same amount of conversion and just cost you more money?
Well, I know in Facebook, when I'm setting up a Facebook ad or a meta ad, when I'm dialing in the audience, it'll tell you this is your audience size, which is a complete vanity metric.
Yeah. Like who cares? And it's real. And even Google will say, here's the recommended budget. Here's the recommended budget. I've never seen it say you have too much budget. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It never
right?
will.
It never will. Now we've seen campaigns not spend the budget, but that's pretty rare too. But no, they're those platforms, they're there to make money. and they want your money, and they're going to make it seem like you have to spend every dime you have. And there's always going to be somebody else out trying to outspend you somewhere. But if you're smart about it, you don't burn your dollars just to make yourself feel better ultimately. Anyway, so I wanted to focus on that for just a second. Yeah. So when you start chasing, like I was saying, you start chasing the clicks instead of the patients, you just start burning dollars. And then all of a sudden your profitability is not going up. It's just laying flat or going down, but you're spending more money, but nothing's resulting from that. I mean, we see that ourselves. Like when we increase ad spend for our own selves to help find urgent cares, like we have to be careful. Like if we just keep increasing, or we just is the thing just spending dollars at that point and not really actually helping things out. Like even in our world, we love the conversion cost to be at a certain level, right? And then when we see it go above a certain level, we want to say, hey, there might be an issue here. Let's not just increase ad spend. Let's focus on refining what we have first.
Right.
And that's business, right? Where you can't just keep throwing dollars at it and it'll just magically work. You know, you have to be very careful with the dollars you put out there. So, all right. Next question that we have in place here. How confident are you in your current marketing data? Data.
It depends on if it's Star Trek or real world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Data is a cyborg. Data is information you can use.
You know, I used to work for an IT company they all said Southern Data.
Southern Data. I like that. That's good.
And that's just the way it is. Anyway, so confident, very confident, somewhat not. I'll just look at the reports. So we'll give y'all just a second to go through that. And then we'll come back to the answer. Somewhat confident.
I like that. That's cool.
Go. That's an honest answer, right?
I think if I were to look at that, I would say, hey, listen, I think I know what I'm looking at, but I'm not 100% sure of some of these other areas. Let's keep going.
Nice.
Awesome. So I want to take a few minutes and talk about the 6 value metrics that actually matter to your clinic. And it works on multi-clinics too. That keeps clicking over there for some reason. All right. So here's the first value metric we want to look at, and that is the cost per lead. The cost per lead is just simply the cost to generate a lead into your clinic. I think the most important thing here when you're putting this metric together is to understand and define what a lead is to you. I can tell you what it is for us, the agency. We want to know, did the money, the cost, the investment lead in a phone call? Did it lead in a request for directions to your clinic, or did it go to your scheduler page? Due to HIPAA compliance, a lot of times you can't track on the back end of that. If you know how to set that up internally, though, that's a great way to do it too, is you want to set up that conversion, the cost per lead on whether or not they actually went through the entire process. But at the end of the day, it's still a lead. You have not acquired them until they come into your clinic. Okay.
Real.
So going to the next one, cost per patient acquisition. Outside of the urgent care space, it would be called a customer acquisition cost, which is how most CPAs and all of that's how they're going to view that. But for us, we're going to say cost per patient acquisition. And we have some numbers at the end of the slide talking about what these metrics should look like from a dollar perspective. But this is the cost for a patient to come through your doors. This isn't just a lead. This is a converted lead. Right. So we want to know, what is the true ROI of your marketing? And if you don't know your actual patient acquisition cost, you'll never know. Here's the best way to do this, by the way. Take the total amount of dollars that you put into your marketing. And I'm not just talking about the ad spend. I'm talking about the total investments. Do you have somebody that you pay for social media? Do you have somebody that you, an agency? What is their cost? What is the cost on ad spend? All of these things should add up and then divide it by the number of patients that you got that month. Now, better if you know that they came from these certain channels, and we'll talk about that. So what is the conversion rate? All right. These you really want to break down by source anyway, whether you're running Google ads, search engine optimization. Do you have a postcard outreach that you do? All of these different sources, but what is the conversion rate? Basically is if 1,000 people saw my ad, how many of those turned into a lead? That is your conversion rate. All right. So I saw 22 patients. I'm sorry. I got 22 leads and 1,000 people clicked on my ad. Then your conversion rate is 22%. And that's strong. That's strong. So we want to let you diagnose the funnels that you're using. The reason you want to know this is so that you can take, all right, this ad is working based on this landing page that they're going to, and they're booking visits on this page. You want to know what's working so you can refine that. All right. And we want to track by channel. Again, this is going to be your Google ads, your SEO, your outreach, your boots on the ground.
Yep.
Right. All right. Number four is the lifetime patient value. Saw a number on this the other day. Wish I could tell you what it was for every single clinic in every situation. But if you're looking at the lifetime value, typically it's a 5-year span for a patient. That's how often people stay in a CRM or a system, right? So if the customer lifetime value, I'm sorry, if the time frame is 5 years and they're coming to the clinic twice a year,
There you go.
right? So you're looking at an average visit of 10 visits a year. I'm sorry, 10 visits total for that client, and then you multiply it times $100, then your lifetime value is $1,000. If it's $120, then it's $1,200.
Yep.
Right. So that's the way you come up with the lifetime value of your patient. Even better, if you can tie that lifetime value to who they bring in. Are they bringing in their spouse? Are they bringing in their children? These type of things that can increase the lifetime value. The other thing that can increase the lifetime value is the ancillary services that you may offer. Do you offer weight loss? Do you offer other types of services that would bring them in for something other than an immediate need?
Well, we even see that too in our tracking where we were able to track the initial phone call that they made.
Right.
We have something in our software called patient or client call journey.
Call journey. Yep.
And it shows they went back and made the same call. So we have a couple of clinics that are 3-4+ years old, and we have some patients that call back in, and we can scroll back years and see like, oh, so we generated them originally, and they keep coming back into our system every 6 months or every year pretty consistently, and they have different needs every time.
You bring up a fun point there that we don't have in the slideshow, but thank you for doing this. And that is a original lead or a unique lead versus a repeat lead.
Yeah.
And if you're on Ring Central or Weave or you name it, something like that for your phone system, it's going to tell you, if you go in and look, it should tell you if it's a unique call or a repeat call. Those repeat calls, you're like, oh, I paid for a repeat call. Maybe you did, but it's worth it. They came back.
Well, and that's the thing too that we remind our urgent cares. Branding is so difficult in your niche or industry, and so people don't fully remember where they went every time,
right?
Or they can't even tell you where they're going. They just know they're going to that urgent care, and they can't tell you other than when they get the bill. And so that's that part where like it may be a repeat, but it may have been totally unique to them because they don't remember a year ago where they went.
Well, here's another thing you really have to pay attention to as well is that very few people go to michaelsurgentcare.com.
No, they don't.
What they do is they go to their search bar and put in Michael's Urgent Care, and then they click on what would appear to be Michael's Urgent Care, which if it's on Google, if you're running ads properly, you're going to be at the top of the page. They're just going to click that. And you're going to pay for it again.
Yeah.
So no way to combat that. Here's the reason you want to run ads on your name anyway. This is free. You didn't pay for it, but you're getting it. This is why you run what we call brand defense ads, where you run at least $100 or something like that on your own brand, because if not, your competitors will.
Yeah.
All right. So value number 5 is booked appointments from the marketing. Again, at the end of the day, we want to know who booked an appointment. Now, this isn't an acquisition cost, but you do want to know who booked. So if I generated 100 phone calls, we know somewhere to the tune of 65 to 70%, based on all of the data that we have, 65 to 70% of those are going to book an appointment either over the phone, or they're going to walk in, or they're going to hit your online scheduler and book. But you need to know that number. What is the number of booked appointments that originated from your marketing efforts? Leads are great. I get it. They're fun. They look good. Again, leads, if not careful, can also be a vanity metric.
Yeah.
Right. But we still want to measure those leads.
Yep. And the book visit, and we also recognize too, a booked appointment doesn't necessarily mean a patient. There's a really good chance for sure, but it is something because there's just limitations. Like there's no clean way of saying that patient actually connect all the way back. You know, PHI is just a challenge with all that.
I will say this though, the clinics that really have it together, they go through their online scheduler and they say, these are the 10 that booked today, or the 20 or the 50 or whatever that booked today. And these are the ones that showed. And they send a text message or they make a phone call to the ones that didn't and say, hey, I saw you booked, but you didn't make it in. Did you get the care that you needed?
Yeah. And that's,
you want to talk about showing some care.
Yeah. And we actually see that quite a bit. Just to let you know, so we do some front desk training, and one of the big things we'll push on, and this is like an extra bonus pro piece because you have to be very intentional with it.
Right.
they missed an appointment. If your system doesn't have a way to reach back out to them immediately after 15 minutes, or at least tell your front desk to call them and just say, saw you missed the appointment, do you want to rebook? And they may say, oh, I forgot, I got distracted. Where's your location again? You know, those are the conversations you'll have. And you'll get them right back. We even witnessed one where the front desk told somebody incorrect information that morning, and we had the doctor call that same patient with us talking on the phone, which was funny. And he booked that patient to come in that afternoon because he saw an opportunity. Like, I'm going to see if they still need help, and that's what he did, and it worked. So, but like we've said, like it has to be very intentional. It can't be haphazard because it just won't work properly. But it's something we definitely encourage.
I would say carve out time, middle of the day and end of the day to do repeat calls.
Yep.
All right. Last one is the local search visibility. I know this sounds pretty obvious, but are you showing up when people need you?
Yep.
Are you showing up when people need you? This can be, we're going to talk about the map 3-pack, which is the Google Maps section of a search. But ultimately, is your visibility can be tied to your social media? Your visibility can be tied to the Google ads that you're running. When I say local visibility, I am talking about the map 3-pack. So in the anatomy of a Google search, at the top, you're going to have the ads. The next thing that you're going to see is that map 3-pack. They only hold 3 urgent cares in that map 3-pack. You absolutely want to be one of them. All right. That's going to be driven by your rankings. That's going to be driven by the reviews, the citations that you build through directories, services like Yext and Brett Local and things like that. Here's the thing. I'm glad Hannah put this in here, is that the most common search term, period, is urgent care near me. And so what you want to do is within proximity of your clinic, either in your clinic or up to 3 to 5 miles out, run a search on your cell phone, run a search on your computer, and just put urgent care near me. That is the best indicator on whether or not you were showing up locally.
Specifically, do it in Google Maps on your phone.
Absolutely.
And you'll see exactly what's happening. And that gives you a real indicator of.
I like inclinator. That's a new good word. We'll take that.
Indicator of who your true competitors are. Because we get all the, oh, it's the so-and-so down the street over here. Maybe.
Not according to Google.
But when you go walk outside your clinic, we say, like, hop in your car, drive to the next gas station or restaurant, a popular restaurant. Just pull up your phone and say, urgent care near me, and you'll see your competitors. Hopefully you'll see you, and that's a good thing. But if you just don't see you and you're down the list, or it's like the classic, it shows your pinpoint but doesn't give a name beside it yet, it's because you're not that important yet to Google.
Love it. So. All right.
Well, all righty. I hope those numbers and those real life examples did not scare you. Maybe they encourage you. Maybe you're like, oh, gosh, that sounds like my clinic right now. I hope they weren't talking about me. Probably not. But I wanted to show, like, this is what we deal with on a regular basis. So let me ask you, do you have an audit out there that you haven't ran in a long time? Would you like for us to come in and just check things for you? Compare the metrics of what we know is good metrics, not vanity metrics, and just see what we can do for you there. Also, too, there will be a link to the webinar itself, so you can go watch and complete, because what we put in this episode is a snapshot of the thing, not every single bit of the webinar. And then we always have resources for you guys. We want to make sure you get those as well. And I hope that when you went through this episode, you thought about your numbers and you thought, is this really what I want to know more about, or can I dig deeper and connect all the dots, and making sure I am focused on the value, not the vanity. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.